Morning Lake was a challenge. I struggled with this one. It was a mania start in 2019, and I didn't finish it until a couple of nights ago. It is March 2023, so that is 4 years, but I didn't work on it constantly. I would put it down and pick it back up again and put it down again because this is a challenge. It is a Dimensions Gold Collection Petite kit. I love these. They give you so much stitching fun for your money. They are usually 5 by 7 inches. They have all of the challenging elements that make Dimensions Gold Collection kits so enjoyable, but in a tiny space. And I think that maybe because of that, because everything is packed in so tightly, these might be a little bit more challenging. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it feels like a small project should be easier than this. But let's talk about this one. I definitely recommend it, but only if you are up for a whole lot of confetti stitching and blended floss and really tight, dense stitching. I started with this upper right-hand corner, and that was kind of a trial by fire because a lot of these half stitches are done with 4 strands. 4 strands on 18 count, full coverage is a lot of floss in a little bit of space. I'll be honest, I didn't always enjoy the process on this one. There is a lot of shading. There is a lot of confetti. There is, I don't know how many symbols there are just under the dock. There's a lot going on there that is not really readily visible in the finished work. The colors of floss on the stitching are very similar in some areas, but the chart uses multiple colors and a large enough print that you can tell what you're supposed to be doing where. It creates great effect. When I had this 3 inches from my eyes stitching it, I wasn't seeing these rocks and some of the amazing detail because couldn't see the forest for the trees. There are 23 colors in this one. And like I said, a lot of blended threads. I love these floss organizers. There was enough floss. I do not have any of this purple left on my organizer, but I didn't run out. I had enough, and I will be honest, by the end, when I knew I just needed a last few confetti stitches, I was not rationing my thread carefully because I knew by that point that I wasn't running out of anything. If worst had come to worst, I've got my kind of self-made organizers here, and I would bet there is some of that purple here somewhere. I'm glad I didn't have to go looking for it. The back stitching, I will say, there are some parts on the cabin. It neatly follows the rows of stitching. These little diagonals that are the end of the logs, they were a bit tricky to figure out. When you get down here to the boat and the dock, the stitching does not match the lines of the Ada. So honestly, I gave up and went, okay, I'm outlining the boat here, and I just did that instead of trying to pierce the Ada and make fractional stitches that exactly matched the pattern itself, because no one cares. I got the effect that I needed. My friend Amy from Amityville started this about the same time I did, finished hers much more quickly. I think she's more of a one project stitcher than I am, and she did do hers on a larger count fabric. I checked with her and she thinks it's 14 count. She definitely had enough floss in the kit to do the whole thing, and that is a bit of a risk when you're increasing your stitch size and using floss that was intended for a smaller weave fabric. It worked for her. I tend to stick with what the kit came with. I did have a devil of a time getting the needle into this really dense stitching for the back stitching, so I switched to a sharp pointed needle, and that made all the difference in the world. This is dense. I don't do neat backs. This is the best I can do. I collect as many of these Gold Collection Petites as I can get my hands on because I love them. They're inexpensive, they're challenging, and the subject matter on them tends to be absolutely gorgeous. If you'd like tips on how I kept my scraps of blended threads organized, follow the link in the corner because I've got a whole video dedicated to that. I'm Michelle. This is my Romantic Tangle. My channel is full of cross-stitch knitting and quilting tips, so check out my other videos and I'll be back with more new content soon.